Last time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, we did a fan mail episode. Still don't know how to say your name.
He emailed us back. It's Sharam. I got it right.
Oh, are you kidding me? Wow. High five. What are their what was their response email like?
The subject line is Union of Friends. Spawn is born. Or Spawn, I guess, is the pronunciation we decided on. But it's weird because if you type Spawn the way we were saying it, it just looks like Spawn.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
He has some other questions for us, but like I said, we'll get into them on the next fan mail.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. I'm Spencer.
I'm John.
Eric has officially hated the Ginyu saga, and we're ready to talk about the Frieza saga. We're ready to get into it, finally.
Finally, the quintessential Frieza arc.
So we're going to get right into it. Today we're going to be covering episodes 76 through 80 of Dragon Ball Z. We'll start off with episode 76. The American title is Piccolo's Return. Japanese title is Kami-sama also returns to life. Piccolo is resurrected by Super Shenlong.
Is that the longest one we've had? I think that's
one of the longest ones. I love that they add the addition to the sentence in the beginning. Yeah. Kami-sama also returns to life, but they haven't yet said Piccolo's back.
They really, I guess... Who is this show for? Is it for kids? Because if it is for kids, I get why they're doing that. But
are all anime titles like this? That's kind of what I'm curious about too. Is this tradition or is this specific to Dragon Ball Z?
My title for this one is the one where the gang admires a dragon man's pecs. And they are glorious pecs.
I mean, he's super Shenlong. So if he didn't get super ripped.
Incredibly ripped and incredibly sassy.
He's really sassy.
Mm-hmm.
The episode opens with Purunga having been successfully summoned by Gohan, Dende, and Krillin. The 7 Namekian Dragon Balls have been gathered, and the dragon is now in the sky, ready to grant wishes. 3 of them, to be exact. Purunga is amazing. The first thing I noticed is that Purunga speaks English, but you have to summon him in Namekian, and Dende has to communicate the wishes in Namekian.
Yeah, I wrote that down too. It doesn't make sense at all unless Purunga isn't actually speaking. They're communicating telepathically. I mean, we can rationalize the fuck out of it. No, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't.
They find out that the dragons have different abilities. And while Shenron on Earth is able to bring back like swaths of people, like bring back everybody killed by the Saiyans,
right?
Purunga doesn't have the same ability. He can only restore 1 life. And everybody on King Kai's planet who is listening to this, apparently, is very disappointed, to say the least. They start fighting about who would be the best person to wish back to fight Frieza.
I want to come back. No, I want to come back.
Yeah, and it's weird because, I mean, they have 3 wishes. I think Yamcha says, like, there's only 3 wishes, so we can't bring back all of us. And then Tien's like, oh, yeah. There's me, that's 1. There's Chaozu, that's 2. Like he just kindergarten has to count to himself
on his fingers,
on his
index finger, middle, like every.
Yamcha says it's not that hard. Just count your eyes and add 1.
Like Yamcha's the smart one here somehow,
but it's still counting to 4. Like it doesn't. I don't
know. They spend too much time on that, and then Piccolo kind of interrupts them all, and then yells out, "It's obvious it should be me." I'm fine with Piccolo being a dick to King Kai at this point.
And it like comes to a head when King Kai keeps yelling about how they shouldn't fight Frieza and Piccolo might not want to go back. And Piccolo just says, this is what it's like to have a mom.
That's right. So this is what it's like to have a mom.
It's like one of the best insults of all time. And throughout all this, I'm trying to be immersed in the question of who's going to actually make it back to life. But then you just look at the title of the episode and it's not really that big of a surprise.
No, it's really not. So it cuts back to Purunga, the dragon, the Namekian dragon, and Purunga is speaking in English to everyone. And Piccolo and Purunga are voiced by the same voice actor. Christopher Sayboat is what we've decided his name is. Vegeta is also voiced by Christopher Sayboat. So Purunga sounds like what Piccolo sounded like in the first episodes. Because Piccolo is just Christopher Sayboat doing his deepest voice. And so now Purunga is Christopher Sabo doing his deepest voice. And so he has to change Piccolo's voice for this episode to sound a little bit higher than this. Just a little bit higher.
It does sound weird because he doesn't keep this Piccolo voice, I don't think.
Yeah, so
it sounded odd to me.
Each time I'm just thinking that it's just a Dungeons and Dragons game master, just like who doesn't remember his voices 100%. It's been like 2 weeks since you've played, and so now he's changing the voices around a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and he, it's still early on. He'll get used to it.
Yeah,
because he doesn't stop voicing other characters.
Right. Yeah, he continues to voice this swath of characters. The Technicolor rainbow that is Dragon Ball Z is all coming out of the vocal cords of Christopher Sabo.
Yeah. While all this is going on, Purunga starts getting snippy, and he says, "Just wish for nothing 3 times so I can go."
Yeah, which is awesome. I love this dragon.
They decide to wish Piccolo back, and then they have to spend another wish wishing him to Namek. So they spend 2 wishes in the span of 1 minute. I really do wonder what the limits of the wish are, because could they just say, "I wish Piccolo was alive right next to me"?
They should have tried. They should have just tried just to see. So they have to spend 2 wishes, one to bring Piccolo back to life, which it removes his halo. Everybody has halos.
Just like when Goku got wished back to life, he's still on King Kai's planet, but he's alive again.
The halo just poof disappears, and that's how you know they're alive. That's the difference between life and death. This is a halo. That's it. And then they have to spend another wish bringing Piccolo to planet Namek, but they don't specify where to bring him. So Purunga just teleports Piccolo somewhere on the planet, and they have no idea where he is.
Because he's a little bit of a bitch, but I guess.
Yeah.
And apparently he's like on the opposite side of the planet, because when Piccolo gets there, he's like, "I don't know where I am. I can't sense anybody's power. I'm so far away."
When Piccolo comes back, it cuts to Mr. Popo chasing a butterfly.
Oh my God!
On Kami's lookout.
He says a butterfly, and at this altitude.
Yeah,
I just love.
It immediately brought me back into the world for some reason.
It's just great
because it made it feel a little bit more real, because they're acknowledging that how high up the place is and that it's weird that it's a butterfly there. In this world where there's dragons and dinosaurs and shit, just add one little line and it brings me home and it makes me feel nice.
Yeah.
And Kami slowly fades into existence again.
Yeah, because Kami and Piccolo are linked. So if one comes back, the other comes back.
And so Mr. Popo freaks out a little bit, like, "Oh, it's the ghost of Kami." Because it's a slow fade in transition.
But Kami's like, nah, I'm back for real, yo.
He says, "You look pale, my friend." Which I just can't, because Mr. Popo is one shade, and that shade is
singularity.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's the color of Mr. Popo. It's singularity color. And so to say, "You look pale, my friend," that pretty sure that was the dub artists at work.
Little joke. They're getting a lot of jibs and jabs in this saga, I've noticed.
Yes.
So Vegeta senses a power level. He senses Frieza coming for the dragon.
That's right. He's still asleep.
He is. He's still napping next to Goku's healing pod, and he senses this power level, and it kind of jerks him awake. And he's like, "Oh no, Frieza's coming!" And then he looks out the window, and the sky's all black. And he's like, "What? How long was I asleep? It's nighttime already." But Vegeta already knows that Namek doesn't have a night. So anyway, he figures out that the dragon's been summoned, and he gets pissed.
Oh yeah, furious. He steps outside of out of the Frieza spaceship, and he's walking out there. He's like, "Where are those insufferable bastards?" And then he turns, and there's a giant fuck dragon there, and he's like, "I'm not gonna let this shake my composure."
Oh yeah, you get the most mad he's ever been when he says that line.
"I'm not gonna let this shake my composure." And then there's a close up of his Adam's apple gulping, and he goes, "Damn it!" And he just flies off. Like he can't hold it for 1 second.
He arrives, and there's this wonderful little. It's over the shoulder of Krillin, looking at Vegeta, and Vegeta is treadmilling across the planet, walking closer to him.
Furious. I love the way that they show this, because Vegeta is giant, very much like when Bulma gets mad.
Yeah.
It shows Bulma's a huge giant, like, I'm storming. But it shouldn't be comical. It's the dramatic tension whiplash.
The identity crisis.
The identity crisis, yeah, exactly. Where they are not sure if they should be comical or if it should be serious. So this moment where Vegeta's huge and slowly storming and saying these, I'm going to rip you apart. I'm going to tear your insides out. But they do the same comical thing that they do with Bulma. I'm like, I don't like this. Figure it out. But also, I've noticed in these 5 episodes, the art is bad. It's really bad in some of these shots.
I'm going to guess why. I think I know.
Why?
It's the beginning of the season. The end of this season is very iconic. I bet they put more money into the animation for the last few episodes.
I could definitely see that. You could definitely be right about that. There are a couple scenes that I can tell they spent a lot of money on.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to those in the coming episodes. But just in general, it isn't amazing. People can... It's a point of opinion, so people will most likely totally disagree. I love this arc for the art, they'll say. And that's fine. For me, it's gross. All right. What were you going to say?
Vegeta gets there to Gohan and Krillin. He arrives, and then he starts, basically just threatening them, trying to force... Dende's the only one that can make a wish, because he's the only one that speaks Namekian. So he starts threatening a kid to get him immortality. Like, he grabs him, he holds him up, he shakes him. There's nothing that Krillin and Gohan can do, and he's just being pure Vegeta.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where Dende actually starts making the wish for Vegeta to be immortal.
Well, Krillin says, look, I think this is our only option. We have to do something, and we're just doing nothing. So this whole time, Vegeta has been like, hey guys, stupid plan, right? But let's make me immortal, and that'll work, right? And they kept being like, nah, we ain't gonna do that. But then under pressure, they just go, well, it's kind of the only thing that anybody's suggested, so yeah, let's just do that.
I just... Like, Goku's there now. So
right.
Why not just wish Goku immortal? Hell, why not just have Krillin become immortal?
Okay, let's have a conversation about immortality, okay? Because everybody wants to become immortal.
That's like the wish in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, the wish. But does immortality come with a god tier power boost? Or does it just make it so they cannot die?
I guess that's a good point, because obviously I wasn't considering... I didn't think that you'd get a power boost, but like, what does that mean in terms of your energy?
Yeah.
Can you still run out? Do you have like a base level that will always be there? Because if you lose all your energy, you die.
Hey, Toriyama. Hey, Toriyama. I know you're listening, okay? I want you to send us your original notes on what immortality means.
Because like, can you get broken bones? Can you have limbs amputated?
Do you no longer feel pain?
Yeah.
Anyway, just in the middle of Dende wishing for Vegeta's immortality, and Vegeta sitting there like, yes, finally. The dragon suddenly starts like melting, sort of.
Actually, Dende does finish speaking the words. Purunga just sort of explodes. Like,
yes.
That moment is actually really well done, because you don't really know what's going on. And then I caught it before they actually said it. I realized the only thing that could possibly mean Purunga would just up and disappear and the Dragon Balls would turn to stone is that Guru's finally dead. Like,
yeah.
He that was his last moment of life.
I actually totally forgot that was the link to keep Purunga on this world. So when they cut to Guru and it shows like a still image of Guru, very tastefully drawn, dead Guru, I was like, oh shit, I felt it because I forgot.
Yeah, dude, it sucked.
It was a good moment. Although,
liked it. Right after that, Dende is crying, which, fair enough. But he says, he was like a grandfather to me.
He is your grandfather!
No, he's your straight-up father!
Oh, that's true. He is your father!
Guru is the father of all Namekians, so why...
Maybe grandfather they're using as not an actual familial title, but more of like a social kind of...
Yeah. I could see that. I mean, somebody would have to raise the kid, and it's probably not Guru, because he's kind of...
sitting in a chair, doing nothing. Because what does Guru do throughout his day, really?
That's why I want to see a young Guru spinoff. See what he got up to when he was, being a Casanova across the planet.
Romancing who? Trees?
Himself?
The dinosaurs? Himself? Finds a mirror, hey.
We can't keep meeting like this. At some point, it cuts to Piccolo, and he's arrived on Namek. He's been wished there by the dragon, and he can't detect anybody's power level. The fun thing is, as he's like deciding, okay, I'm just going to go and find Gohan, I think he does detect Frieza, just like Vegeta woke him up from the map. And he's like, oh, that's a really big power level. Oh, well, you only live once.
He does say that.
And he smirks.
You only live once. Mm-hmm.
That's a good sense of humor. Then he takes off. It cuts back to the gang, and Vegeta's arguing, what happened to the dragon? Why am I immortal or not? And then he turns and looks, and his face falls as he realizes that Frieza is now here, and that's where the episode ends.
Solid hanger.
It actually was. It was a good cliffhanger. Episode 77. The American title is The Fusion. The Japanese title is Birth of the Mightiest Warrior. Nail and Piccolo merge.
I don't like the Japanese title sometimes. Sometimes I do, other times I don't. My episode title for this one is Piccolo Finally Lets Another Man Inside.
Aww, that's nice.
Aww.
This episode starts off with Frieza basically laughing at the fact that the Ginyu Force has been defeated, his mighty last line of defense, essentially. He specifically talks about Ginyu. I wish I could have seen the look on his face, and then it just cuts over to like left field where Ginyu the frog is sitting, and he's just like, ribbit.
They ribbit like in fear and hop away. Cuts to Goku, his hand twitches, just to remind you that he exists.
Every single time it cuts to Goku in these 5 episodes, there's a theme. There's like a Goku's in a pod, but don't bother me, I'm healing.
Yeah.
Like theme. So every time you hear that music, you're going to see Goku twitching
and saying, "Oh, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be healed and out of this pod so that I can join the fight."
It's actually these sequences that made me realize how his voice has evolved over the years.
Yeah, same.
It doesn't feel like he's trying super hard to be in the moment with these thought intrusions.
I noticed 2 trends in these episodes that are forming. And because I have future knowledge, I know that they will continue for sure. One of them is Goku is on the way / damaged / out of commission, and everyone's just waiting for his ass to show up.
Whoever the most powerful person is, right? The one that can turn the tide of battle is often not in the battle. Like right now, Piccolo is also coming toward Frieza.
Yep. And there's another trend, and we'll get to it, I think 79, maybe. So Vegeta and Frieza have a little evil off.
I really like this scene because it's like, they're both being evil, but it also kind of dives into their backstory just a little bit, like their personal relationship kind of hints at it. Bit. While that's happening, Krillin, Gohan, and Dende just bail.
They're out, which is smart.
Yeah. Oh, of course, because they're going to die.
Frieza starts powering up, but unlike all the other power-ups that we've seen, Frieza powers up for 1 second and shit just explodes everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like no power, huge power. And Piccolo notices this power increase from across the planet. He's like, "Oh shit, that's a big evil power. Whoa, I'm feeling something else. I'm feeling a dying power. That better not be Gohan." And they fly towards the dying power instead. Well, it turns out it's Nail.
Remember Nail, everybody?
I hardly do.
He's dying.
So Nail has more personality in this 2-minute exchange than all the other times that they're in the other episodes.
Yeah, it's Nail's best scene. Piccolo's first reaction when he sees the only other member of his species that he's ever seen before is
Kami.
He looks like, but Kami and him are the same person.
That's true.
He says, he looks like me. Could be worse, I guess.
Could be worse, I guess.
I don't know what that means. I don't know who he's trying to insult there. In this scene, we learned that I don't know if it's specific to Namekians. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it is, but I don't know if they ever specify in this scene. Nail says, if only Kami was here, you could merge with him and you'd have the power to take down Frieza, but you're not enough by yourself. And then he volunteers himself as tribute, I guess. He offers to merge with Piccolo to become more powerful and maybe have enough power to take out Frieza. I keep saying merge because they either say merge or unite. The word fusion is never spoken in this episode except for the American title.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very interesting. So it cuts back to Frieza for a while, and this time he is powering up a lot. He continues to power up, and he's not screaming, which I'm very grateful for. But man, oh man, is he powering up. Like, the rocks are coming out of the ground. Little particles are floating. There's one part, I think it might be later, but like it moves water away from the shores of the island they're on. So you can see the sea floor, which is crazy.
Does that ever creep you out? Like, real talk, have you ever seen sections of water, large bodies of water that have been suddenly emptied and then it's just the ground there.
Oh yeah, it's weird looking. But I like the idea of walking across that because it gives you a look into a mysterious environment that like I don't want to swim in.
No.
I don't want to be in the water and looking at this stuff. I feel more in control when I'm on land. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. In video games that have underwater sections, I have spent a ridiculous amount of time just like debugging the water out and just walking around to check that stuff out.
Wait, really? Like in what game?
Like Fallout 4. So much of the landmass of Fallout 4 is just water. But underneath all that water, there actually is a ton of stuff.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, and they put a lot of effort into it. There's a lot of downed ships. There's a lot of rocks. There's refrigerators. There's dead bodies and stuff. Like, they really filled it all out. Anyway. They don't do anything like that in this episode. The water just disappears, and then they stop talking about it. And I think at this point, it cuts to Nail finally choosing to fuse with Piccolo.
Yeah, Piccolo initiates the fusion. Yes. And there's a huge like photosensitivity warning. It's not that bad at first, but man, does it go on for a while.
Okay, I counted it out. It's 27 straight seconds before the episode break. And those first 27 seconds, it's just Chris Sabote moaning quietly. Like, there are moments where characters power up and they go, ah, and they turn into a motorcycle on the highway. But this one is just quiet, like, for 27 seconds.
Yeah,
and it's really
wild.
Weird. It's really weird to listen to it with earbuds because it's just going right into your brain. And you're like, I feel like crossing my legs. I don't know why.
When the fusion finishes, the shot is framed. It's weird that they frame the shot this way in the cartoon because they should do this in real life filmmaking. It makes sense. But so the fusion is Nail goes away, gets absorbed into Piccolo. Where you would see Nail's body disappear, it's framed just up enough that you don't see it. And so the flashing stops and Piccolo has his hand out, and then it cuts to just the empty ground. As if they had to like move Nail's body really quick to make the shot make sense. They could have just showed him fading out. I don't actually know why they framed it just up enough so you didn't have to show the disappearance.
I don't know. That's a weird decision because Kami fades in.
Yeah,
no problem.
They do it. I don't know why they decided just to show Piccolo, but anyway.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a function of animation. Like maybe the fade in. It's
maybe it does cost more.
I guess. I don't know.
So the Piccolo successfully fuses and he does a little dance and he starts yelling really loud. And he says, I could win. I feel great. Yeah. Like he does this little rah-rah cheer.
He does, which feels out of character and odd.
Well, it's Nail, right? It's like maybe Nail's a jovial fellow. And he praises the sun. He does the Dark Souls like pose.
He does.
Holds out his arms. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then he takes off again.
It cuts back to Frieza, still just laughing and powering things up. And this is the moment that I noticed that when Frieza starts blasting things, the art just looks awful. There isn't very much shading. There isn't extra layers on anything. It's extraordinarily meh.
Well, it's okay because you're not supposed to be concentrating on the fun action stuff. These are character moments. We got to watch these characters develop and see what they do in times of strife. These few episodes I get to defend Krillin again because he makes a hero play. He says, while Frieza's concentrated on Vegeta, Gohan, me and you got to attack him because it might be the only chance that we get. Which is cool. Yeah. Frieza continues to blast at Vegeta, and then Vegeta just straight up punches an energy blast in the face.
Yeah.
And redirects it, and it blows up some rock.
Add that to the tally of what the fuck is energy.
There has to be an answer.
There really has to be, God damn it. And then they need to incorporate that into the video game idea that you came up with, and then give us royalties.
Yes, please. Frieza's just like, that was my appetizer. I'm still going to kill you. And Vegeta's like, nonsense. Soon I'll be a Super Saiyan. Your worst nightmare. Right. He has this weird Super Saiyan complex throughout this entire arc, and I don't know if he thinks he is one or if he's like journeying to become one. He's also afraid that anybody else around him will become one first.
Yeah.
He's weird about it.
He's very weird about it. It's because he doesn't know what it is. It's because he doesn't have, it's a legend. And so he doesn't have any hard data on what a Super Saiyan actually means.
But he's so prideful that he's convinced that he's going to become one no matter what. Because he's the Prince of all Saiyans.
It's fate. It has to be him.
Right.
But actually, Vegeta's current power seems pretty fairly capable of holding back Frieza.
Yeah. They do the high school wrestling thing.
That's
where they grapple. with each other. And they keep pushing each other. And it's basically a stalemate. And it's an amazing stalemate because the power it radiates out from them. And the ground that they're standing on sinks lower and lower and lower. And they're just creating this crater as they try to like just make each other give just a little bit of ground. And they can't. It's a stalemate.
It's awesome. And they kind of bounce backwards out of their divot that they've made.
Yeah. And then Vegeta just out of nowhere says, "Why don't you transform, Frieza?"
Spills the beans on Frieza's transformation secret, which I guess Zarbon spilled the beans on. Frankly, I don't remember if that's even true.
I can't remember either. They do have a conversation between the two of them. I cannot remember if he says the word transformation. But this is a really interesting part that I had never really considered before. I always thought of transformation as an upgrade. Like you're changing yourself to upgrade everything about you. But Vegeta makes it sound like he calls it a mask that Frieza hides behind. So the Frieza that we've known and loved throughout these last few episodes isn't what Frieza was born to look like. He's made this visage to make himself look smaller, and I don't know. It's really interesting to think that's not the real him.
Frieza explains that it's because they can't control their own power. It's just unbelievably strong. So they have gone through this transformation so that they can A, control their power, and B, it's like Emperor Palpatine's cane. It's just there to pretend like they have this crippling whatever.
Okay. Even though he's still feared as being the most powerful being.
Right.
Even in that form.
Even in that form, powered down so they can actually control it. Because apparently the true Frieza is just unthinkably powerful.
Right. Frieza won't transform. He's like, nah, I'm good. And Vegeta uses a clever bit of reverse psychology, which is like, oh, his power won't increase that much. And it freaking works. It works. Frieza gets ready to transform, and he's like, I never transform unless somebody gives me a countdown.
Unless I have a countdown.
And the music is so absurd when he says that line. Like, everybody knows what the hell is Frieza talking about. What a little bitch.
But Vegeta indulges him. He's like, all right, fine. 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1.
And Frieza's like, okay, here I go. And then he starts transforming. He transforms. He just transforms.
Sort of.
I know.
Not even really. But all they do is they grow like a couple inches. Frieza grows a couple inches, and the armor that's on them, which we've come to say is Saiyan armor.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. That armor blasts off of them. So maybe it is a part of their body. It's like a cocoon.
Or he's just been wearing armor.
Yeah, and the armor just can't handle it, and so it just breaks.
Whatever the case, it shatters. And then the episode ends. Episode 78, the American title is Fighting Power 1 Million. The Japanese title is A Nightmare Super Transformation, Frieza's Battle Power of 1 Million.
My episode title is If Power Levels Meant Anything Before This Episode, They Sure as Fuck Don't Anymore.
It's true. It's so true. This is where everything goes off the rails. The episode opens with Frieza transforming again. And this is like big. They spent way more money on this scene than the previous transformation scene. I don't know why they just wouldn't cut the episode off before he finishes transforming, and then show it the next episode. But they just, I don't know. So he transforms again, and this weird glow to his outline when he's transforming. That's pretty cool. And his armor does shatter again. This is a weird episode that I wasn't expecting because like 70% of it is flashback.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what Frieza says, but he's like, nobody's ever seen this transformation before. You're really cocky, Vegeta, just like your father.
Just like your father.
Yeah. And then it flashes back to Vegeta as a kid, and he's an adorable little child. And you get to see Frieza's control over the planet Vegeta, over the Saiyan race.
Yes.
You get to see the last days of it play out.
Yeah, it's a courtroom scene where Vegeta, King Vegeta, which is Vegeta's father.
It's Vegeta with an accent and a goatee.
Is the king of planet Vegeta, who is Vegeta's father.
Yeah.
There's a courtroom setting. There's a Saiyan that's kneeling and saying, oh, this thing is going to take longer than we anticipated. And he just blasts him. He's like, you're going to upset Frieza. Blasts him.
Yeah.
And then Frieza walks out from the shadows and is like, I didn't give a shit. You should be nice to your people. Ha ha, you little bitch. Let me sit on your throne.
Oh, he says, I can't wait to take your son.
I can't wait to take your son.
Frieza's plan, I guess, has been to take King Vegeta's son, Vegeta, and raise him as his own.
I guess it's the same plan that Piccolo had with Goku's son.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a weird parallel I've never connected before.
Yeah, King Vegeta doesn't like that plan. He's planning a coup against Frieza, which is weird because he's the king, but I guess Frieza's just ruling over the planet anyway. So
yeah,
they're gonna get revenge. So they eventually assault Frieza's ship. I believe Vegeta is on board the ship at this point, but he really has nothing to do with this flashback. You just see him occasionally.
Yeah, Vegeta's a little kid in like a holding cell.
King Vegeta and his forces break into the ship, and Frieza's there, and Frieza just takes him out.
One punch.
One Punch Man.
Mm-hmm.
King Vegeta's just not a very good fighter. That's kind of what I learned from this. He doesn't really put up much of a fight at all.
No.
He just kind of goes down.
Yeah, there are a few shots that are really good in this episode, with like when Frieza opens the door and is backlit through just light.
Oh, it's great. This episode is absolute insanity. And you'll realize the full extent of what I mean when we get to the end of this episode, because this episode is so inconsistent, but it's equal parts epic and silly.
Yes. Yeah, it's it's the best and worst of Dragon Ball Z.
It's so weird. How is it in 20 minutes? It doesn't make any sense.
This one has so many awesome, excellent scenes. When King Vegeta gets punched that one time and dies, it does cut to Prince Vegeta, the Vegeta that we know, and he shoots like a hand blast at a rat on the wall. And it's another like little subtle animal cutaway thing that also means something, because it was Frieza killing a rat.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Prince Vegeta shooting a rat up against the wall. Anyway, it was just one of those parallel animal cutaways that I thought was kind of neat.
After King Vegeta dies, Frieza kills everybody else in the ship. He goes outside of his ship where there's a contingent of Saiyans ready to fight. Frieza kills them all with one finger blast.
It's a big finger blast.
And I had no idea this was going to happen. This was a surprise to me, but Bardock's in there.
Yeah.
They show Bardock, who, if you don't know, is the father of Goku. I had to like Google it right after this because I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What does he do? There's no context. It's just, if you don't know what you're looking at, it just looks like a super detailed Saiyan character
warrior. Yeah,
screaming as he dies. But it's Goku's dad. And I Googled it. The Bardock, father of Goku, the special that explains his backstory and how Goku got to Earth, aired a year before this.
What?
A few months, yeah. It came out during the Ginyu Saga.
Seriously?
Yeah, like the fight with Raccoon around that time, this special aired.
Whoa, does that mean we have to watch that? Are we doing that in order?
I mean, we probably should at some point.
All right.
So the flashback finishes back on Namek with our Vegeta and Frieza starts to transform again. I don't even know if he fought in the form that he transformed into previously, but he's already transforming again. And then it cuts to Bulma, and I don't want to talk about Bulma's stupid mini adventures.
You want me to do it?
Yes, go for it.
It sucks. Back to the regular gang. No, so it's Bulma is fucking just kind of wandering around, and she lies down, and she's like, whatever, there's no reason to go on, except to get even with these jerks. And she's just being complainy, and I'm like, okay, can we just remove her? Just have her show back up at the end, because she doesn't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, she sees a huge stampede of random drooling, slobbering, hungry dinosaurs that start running right for her, and she freaks out. Oh, God. And she finds a cave and dives in to hide, but they go break through the cave and run after her. And then she runs out of the cave and hits the floor and is like, fine, I just accept this. Just go ahead, eat me. And they all run right past her. And she turns around and goes, wow, I wonder what they're running from. And that was like, what, 3.5 minutes wasted?
It's so dumb. The only interesting thing is I love the birds flying away from the T-Rex. You know what I mean? Like the ominous like animals reacting to something dangerous that you're going to have to worry about. So I like the idea of Frieza powering up. The animals get spooked. I don't know why there's dinosaurs on Namek or whatever. And it causes the apex predator of the land to run away because they're scared.
Yeah.
But you didn't need to pack it into this stupid Bulma bullshit. I hated it.
I don't.
And it's like such an epic episode. You get some really cool stuff between Vegeta and Frieza. Some development there.
It sounds like we hate Bulma. Like if somebody was just picking this up and was listening to us, it sounds like we hate Bulma. So maybe explain.
Bulma's one of my favorite characters, but she has to have something to do. Dragon Ball Z runs into this problem where it feels the need to check in on characters, and that can be good, but it has the need, even when they don't have a place in the story, to just cut away, see how they're doing for a bit, and then maybe have a joke to lighten the mood. Like, I think it's supposed to be comic relief, but it just, like, when you're in it, when you're in the drama and things are ramping up, that's the last thing you want.
Yeah, and it gets obnoxious when they then have to force it down your throat. Oh, by the way, we need to give this character something due, so we're going to throw off all the feeling that we've created from the previous scene and totally throw off the vibe. We're going to throw off your groove for just a couple minutes, and then whiplash, you're right back into the way that you were feeling before. You're fine with that, right?
And the big problem for me is that Bulma's actually a really smart, competent character 80% of the time.
Yeah, except here on Namek. She is this vapid, empty, annoying, obnoxious teenage girl again.
I feel like there's a way you could have her prepping a way for them to get home, for instance, and then extend that out over a few episodes and check in with her, like, getting junk from a spaceship and trying to make something new. Like, use her background as a character to
she was in the middle of retrofitting that submersible / robot that she has with some of the jet boosters from the ship that they used to get there, or from Frieza's ship or something.
Have her tearing apart the Ginyu Saiyan pods or something like
exactly.
that. Like,
and then it gets blasted apart by the huge shockwave from Frieza transforming. And then she turns and she goes, sees birds flying away and dinosaurs running. And she goes, wow, that must be bad news. And then that's
exactly. It's way more interesting because you have characters that are actually building towards something, that have a relevant piece of the puzzle. There's problems that need to be fixed, and competent characters go after the solution.
I think the general consensus in the Dragon Ball community is that Namek Bulma isn't real Bulma. Like, they didn't know what to do with her, so she's got the wandering about syndrome. Anyway, don't hate Bulma. Awesome character. Hate Namek Bulma. Doesn't make sense.
Frieza finishes transforming, and now he's like
huge.
It's an intense transformation. He gets bigger horns, his voice deepens, he's bigger, badder.
Yes.
And the first thing he does is just lash out with his tail, which is now like a Namekian limb, like it stretches.
Super stretchy tail.
Yeah, and it retracts too. And Krillin even said, "Wow, it retracts." Which is just, and then they say that Frieza is over 1 million. His power level's over 1 million right now. They were wowing like 100,000 a few episodes ago.
It doesn't mean anything anymore.
It doesn't mean anything. If Vegeta is impressed at 180,000 or whatever Goku was, and he's impressed by that, but he can still hold his own against Frieza, what does power level mean when Frieza's 10 times as powerful as that? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that a discussion that we should even try and have?
I don't want to right now.
I don't either.
It's going to get even worse. So
yeah, exactly. Everyone knows the power levels are bullshit, so fuck it.
Frieza engulfs a lot of the planet in a freaking tidal wave that you can see from space.
This is my favorite shot of the episode. Frieza lifts up a hand and causes this massive, unbelievable shockwave. It's shown in maybe not like 100% grayscale, but really close to grayscale. Everything is super desaturated, and this blast is so massive that you can see it from space. But when they cut back, it didn't kill any of them. It didn't kill any of them at all.
The grass is still blue.
It feels inconsequential almost. Like, look at how big my power is. Look at how little it actually did.
Yeah, it's just spectacle.
What?
Fireworks.
Yeah, that's all it is. And that's fine that it's just spectacle, but one of these times I want one of these big, impressive powering up things to just kill somebody. Like, not that I want somebody to be dead, really. Not that I want any of the main cast to be dead from something like that, but it would really hammer in how fucking powerful this person is if just by powering up, it kills people.
I agree.
Anyway, take it away, because this is all Krillin territory from here on out.
The ending of this is just...
It's intense. Watching it in the uncut version, I was not prepared.
Out of frickin' nowhere, Frieza, basically his new transformed self, he's like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. He's deciding between all the characters that are standing before him, who to attack.
Yeah.
And you're not really sure who he's going to go for. And even though I've known the history of the show, I was not expecting him to choose Krillin. He flies full force at Krillin and just impales him on one of his newly elongated horns right through the gut. And Krillin basically starts dying, and blood gushes out from the wound.
Yeah.
Trickles down the horn and onto Frieza's face, and Frieza licks it and smiles as Krillin's dying, and the episode ends.
Yeah, it was intense. It was very suddenly intense.
It's an incredible cliffhanger. Maybe one of the best cliffhangers that the show has done. Episode 79. The American title is Gohan Attacks. The Japanese title is This the End? A brutally transcendent power attacks Gohan.
Brutally transcendent.
I really like that.
I do too. My episode title is Horny Frieza is a Scary Frieza.
I mean, I agree. Basically, Gohan gets pissed. We join the scene right where we left off. It's really gruesome. Like, Frieza relishes torturing Krillin. He's still sort of alive. Krillin's still on the horn. And Gohan instantly gets mad and tries to attack Frieza, but it doesn't work.
Nope, gets knocked out by the Frieza tail. And then Frieza starts bucking Krillin around like a bull and starts saying like, yeehaw, giddy up, ride him, cowboy. And it's actually really disturbing.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's not...
Maybe they were going for funny or something, but the scene itself, how much blood there is, how much Frieza's actually enjoying it, the music, it makes it sink in as actually really disturbing. It works really well. It's
like you're watching a serial killer. It's just...
Yes, that's exactly what gross. It is. So good on you. Awesome, awful, awesome scene.
King Kai says, we're all doomed. And it cuts to Bulma.
Yep.
And I don't want to really see Bulma for a while, but at least she calls herself out for being a little crazy as she's just lying dead in the desert pretty much. And then it cuts to Krillin, who is dying for real. And it's interesting that he sort of like comes to term with his death in his thoughts as Frieza's shaking him around. But he's like, his last words are like, Goku, where were you?
Yeah, where were you? I was like, ooh.
Oh, yeah, it hurts. It really hurts.
The scene is pretty horrifying with Gohan's face just covered in Krillin's blood and Vegeta's face covered in Krillin's blood. I'm like, wow, this is way more intense than I remember it being.
It's definitely not for kids.
No, the editing department for Funimation must have been working overtime to get rid of all that blood.
Seriously, I do not remember it being this brutal. Like, this is like scarring if you're that age.
It's awesome now. I'm 100% down.
Like, finally, it feels like the threat is real, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Frieza finally just tosses Krillin into the ocean.
Yep. And Gohan gets so mad and he starts to beat the shit out of Frieza. And it feels good. Yeah. It's just a hardcore beatdown for like a minute.
Gets a really good face punch on him and keeps going, just showers them in blasts over and over and over. He says he uses a Masenko blast, except instead of a beam, he fires a ball of energy.
I don't know. I feel like the techniques are like getting you in the right headspace, kind of like the spells in Harry Potter. Like, you could technically do it without the words. It just... It's like muscle memory. It kind of gets you there. Maybe the word doesn't determine exactly what it is. It can be modified a little bit. It's just like you're getting in the right headspace.
Okay.
So all right, it's not like if I say Kamehameha, it's not going to work.
Okay. It's like if you're riding a skateboard and you say kickflip, but you just do like an ollie or you grind or something. It's not representative of what you're actually doing. It just gets...
Yeah, but you did do a thing.
Yeah, so if your trigger word is kickflip, it doesn't matter. You're not about to do a kickflip. You're just about to trick out or something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
At this point, the second trend has really made itself apparent, which is after all of Gohan's huge blasts, there's a huge smoke cloud. And then the big bad guy is revealed to be totally fine. They stand up and dust themselves off. And they're like, well, that was, Here's the trend. It's called bad guy does bad thing to good guy. Good guy gets mad and appears to hurt bad guy. Bad guy actually is completely fine.
Yeah.
And it's happened over and over and over and over and over so far.
I do appreciate that it did. Like, he is lying down. He is partially conscious for a quick second, and he is damaged, visibly damaged. But as this is happening, a really cool scene happens. Gohan notices some bubbling coming from the water, and it shows Dende coming up from underneath with Krillin in tow. I was really surprised that Dende rescued Krillin. It was kind of cool. I mean, not that it does him much good because he's still got a hole in his chest, but...
yeah, and it probably burns because it's covered in salt water. I don't know. Is the Namekian Ocean salty?
It could be sugary for all we know.
That's right. So Frieza jumps in and punches the fuck out of Gohan. Vegeta does try to sneak attack Frieza.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It looks cool, but Frieza stops the blasts. It doesn't affect Frieza at all. Frieza turns to Vegeta and says, "Okay, will you hold for a minute? I have to kill the child." And then starts curb stomping Gohan's head.
He did you notice what he calls Gohan as he's going over to him?
What?
He calls Gohan the mighty midget.
Yeah, I did hear that. Yes. I have to deal with the mighty midget.
Yeah. Like, what was that? So Frieza plays with Gohan for a while, throws him down on the ground, and then, oh my god, it's pretty bad. He steps on Gohan's head.
Yep.
And you can hear the crunching as he just kind of holds there.
Mm-hmm.
And Frieza says, sometimes you just got to put your foot down when it comes to kids. And the episode fucking ends right there. It's dark. These previous 2 episodes are crazy dark. Frieza's not screwing around. Episode 80. The American title is Piccolo, the Super Namek. The Japanese title is The Tide Suddenly Turned. Piccolo, the warrior who came late. Shut up, John.
No, that's a good one. I like that one. Oh my god. I don't have a title for this. My title is Krillin's Big Day Out. You know, I'm not a huge fan of Krillin, but in this episode, he's actually pretty cool.
He's really cool. This is a good Krillin episode. It starts with Vegeta debating on whether to rescue Gohan or not. I like this because it zooms in on his frickin' eye, and then in the reflection of his pupil, you can see Gohan getting murdered underfoot, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Cuts to Goku, does that same stupid musical cue where you just know he's not going to do anything.
Piccolo has a nice remembrance clip show about why they care.
Yeah, there's a weird flashback montage of Piccolo and Gohan's. I mean, like, I guess it's weird to me how many episodes it's actually been since Piccolo was around. Mid to late Saiyan saga, which is nuts.
Yep.
It's been a long time since he's been alive. And I guess if you're watching this week to week, it really has been that much longer. So the montage of them together kind of makes sense. And Goku tries to break out of the pod, but he can't. He just doesn't have the energy. He can't lift himself. I don't know if there's like a paralytic in the healing pod that prevents you from moving, because he's pretty close to being fully healed. I feel like it was only an hour, but he can't lift up his arm that much.
Yeah, he's just super fucked up. And he's in the old model of the healing pod.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. But it's only going to take an hour. We know that it's been like at least 45 minutes.
Yeah. Vegeta's not a doctor. I don't trust his diagnosis.
Out of frickin' nowhere, Frieza's about to kill Gohan. This disc of energy comes by and just slices off Frieza's tail. And it cuts back to Krillin, who is fine. Mm-hmm. And he Wabboufets Frieza, like he sticks his tongue out really far and just and then turn around, slaps his butt. He's like, here's your target, baby. He's just taunting Frieza, trying to get him to attack. And it works. Frieza charges after Krillin and Krillin flies away. He was putting himself at risk just to save Gohan.
Yes, there's been quite a lot of the word that I use is tension whiplash in the last couple episodes, where it jumps from scene to scene to scene, and you don't know what feeling you're supposed to have. But in this one, it actually works really well because you're not anticipating Krillin to come back,
and you feel a little bit of triumph.
Yeah, so their Wabboufet feels good. It feels like it has a place. They also do this weird technique where they throw a huge Destructo disc that splits into like 9 or 10 smaller ones.
Yeah, the multi-Destructo disc. It's really cool.
Awesome. I like that a lot.
Having Krillin show off his special move was neat. Frieza cat and mouses Krillin for a bit. He finds this like all these slot canyons sort of intersecting with each other in this chunk of ground, and he goes and hides in there and has Frieza chase him around for a little bit. It's like I don't love this sequence, but I kind of love this sequence. It's like a Scooby-Doo-esque chase.
Yeah.
Where he runs all the way to the left, and then Frieza comes, and then Krillin runs all the way to the right, and then Frieza comes. But there is like one series of animation shots where he's flying. He's still in the air, but he's running.
Yeah, he's doing
he's like fly running away. Yeah, which is fantastic.
Yes, Frieza keeps saying things like, "Oh, he's little enough to eat," or
"Yeah, you cut off my tail, and now I'm going to have you for dinner."
Yeah, does Frieza actually eat people? Because we saw him lick the blood.
I really don't know. I wouldn't put it past him. I mean,
what is Frieza's
the blood of his enemies? Apparently,
I guess. Which is pretty badass, but
pretty badass.
I don't picture Frieza as like a Conan Barbarian-esque Mongol type.
No, neither do. Like, he's sophisticated, right?
Yeah, and spoiled and bratty. And we saw in the King Vegeta part, we saw them drinking a cup of wine.
He had a glass of wine. That's right.
Wine?
Yeah.
So was that blood?
Well, maybe it was blood though. Yeah, could be.
Anyway.
So Krillin dives underwater after Frieza gets sick of chasing him through the slot canyons and just blows him up, which is actually pretty clever because Krillin's just kind of chilling underwater. It sucks, though, because he can't breathe.
Yeah, forgets they have to breathe as they're down there.
And Frieza talks about fishing for Krillin, which he really doesn't do because Krillin comes out with his own volition after he runs out of breath. And you think that Frieza's got Krillin again, and Krillin turns around and freaking solar flares Frieza, and it's awesome.
Hits him with the most effective technique in the show.
Yeah.
It works every fucking time. And at this point, I feel like they need to invent a blast. Like, just do that, and then also from where your hands go. Because when you do a solar flare, you put your hands like across your eyes, kind of like Lady Gaga a little bit. And why not just shoot an eye beam as well? I think I would end up being a really good technique trainer. That's what I would end up
in the
being.
world of Dragon Ball Z.
In the world of Dragon Ball Z. That's what I would be. I'd be a technique analyst.
So I like that.
Anyway,
I just love Frieza getting just a little tiny bit of comeuppance, just a bit. It cuts back to Dende, and he heals Gohan. I don't think this is the first time you see Dende's healing power, but everybody acts like it is. He uses magic to heal Gohan, and I love that they don't spell it out that this is how Krillin got back on his feet. Like, normally in this show, every single character in the next 2 minutes would be like, oh, Dende healing Krillin is how he was able to get one up on Frieza. I'm sure glad that Dende has that healing ability, but they don't do that for once, and it's great.
Yep.
Eventually, Krillin, Gohan, and Vegeta make their way back to each other. Frieza tracks him down, and they are in a lineup, and Vegeta just yells, "Let's hit him, boys!" And they just start blasting Frieza between the three of them constantly.
Hit him with generic yellow blasts.
It's fantastic.
Nameless generic blasts.
It's the consecutive energy blast, that move in the video games.
Yeah.
That's always there.
That creates smoke.
And of course, the smoke clears, and it does nothing. But the music at this point is freaking killer.
It is. It's goddamn great.
I don't know what the theme is called, but it's a Frieza specific theme, and it's great. But Piccolo arrives.
Finally
gets here. He glows like a freaking god, like
space Jesus.
I don't know why now, but all of a sudden he's glowing.
Super ass powerful, and they're gonna 1v1 a 1 million power point enemy.
And I love that Frieza like offers to spare Piccolo. I don't want to fight you.
The way that they describe Frieza's like, I could, it would ease my conscience knowing that I kept at least one of you alive.
Yeah, it was really weird. And his eyes do this weird twinkle as he's looking at Piccolo. It's very strange. Of course, Piccolo's not going to take him up on that. And Vegeta just says, "This will be a great show. I guess I'll sit back here and watch."
Yep.
At least there's some like explanation for the one-on-one battles that we've been seeing. Vegeta just wants to watch, which is fine.
This is very Vegeta-like. I can buy that.
And the episode ends with like a 45-second standoff between Frieza and Piccolo where nobody says anything.
Yep, and the music is great. And that's about it.
It's really good, actually. So that is the end of episode 80. It's really good, actually. These 5 episodes were nice. I binged them very quickly.
Yeah, I appreciated these 5 episodes quite a bit. I had problems with them.
Yeah,
a lot of problems with them, but
again, we have 20 episodes-ish to go before the end of the Frieza saga. He's already transformed 3 times and killed Krillin once. Like, how much more could we have to watch before Goku finally gets there and all that stuff happens? It does not seem possible that we have so many episodes left, but we do.
We do. And we'll get to enjoy them next time. Wait, that's your job.
And we'll get to enjoy them next time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. It's been great doing these. I love it.
I like being back in the saddle. We took a little bit of time off, but we're back. If you enjoy this episode or the podcast, feel free to send us some feedback at mail, M-A-I-L, at ehdbz.com, or send us a message on Twitter using the handle at EricHatesDBZ.
If you'd like to hear more entertainment from our podcast network, the Wabboufets Network, you can listen to our other... Oh my God, what am I doing? You can listen to the other podcast that we produce. It's called Tales of Nowhere. It's a tabletop action... What am I doing? Your turn. Just do it. I can't. I don't know why.
Tales of Nowhere is a genre-bending tabletop RPG podcast where we take one cast of characters through multiple games and rule sets to one epic story. We are currently 1 episode away from the season 1 finale, and things are getting crazy. Now is the perfect time to catch up. You can find that podcast really anywhere you listen to podcasts, or you can go to talesofnowhere.com for direct links. It's a fun time.
It's great. It's really coming together as a finale, as a whole series. You'll enjoy it.
You will.
Oh, the intro and closing songs slash.
Yeah, you do this part for once.
Oh no, the intro and outro songs and any of the music that you hear in Arcade's Dragon Ball Z is done by me over the course of 15 minutes with no sleep. You can find more of my music on SoundCloud at SoundCloud.
Yeah, I mean, if that's on SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.com/burn7. And pretty soon I'm going to have a regular ass website.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I think we have to have a pun now.
Yeah.
Purunga. Good night, everybody.
I tried that with Vegeta and you didn't let me do it.
I know. Tune in next time to find out whether or not Piccolo Purunga's... Nope, that doesn't work.
Purunga's Frieza.
I was going to say Purunga's Frieza's bell. Like rings his
Rung,
bell.
yeah,
but it doesn't work.
Rung. I like the pun Piccolo, no.
That's not even a pun, though.
Piccolo, no.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. We hope you tune in next time. Otherwise, you'll make us say, Piccolo, no.
That's pretty good, actually. That's not terrible.
It's terrible, but it's
But
fine.
it's our level of terrible.
It's an acceptable level of terrible.
We've climbed the rungs to our level of terrible.
We climbed the Purungas to our level of terrible.
Oh, there we go. 2-1, baby. 2-1.
Ugh, I'm so disappointed.